This is a Cadillac CT5-V Precision, and it should do this. That only took 15 takes, but this car is a 668 horsepower supercharged V8 tribute to America and handling and jingoism, and I'm gonna froth at the mouth. Why am I so excited? Because this thing is the answer to all of our sports sedan dreams. I'm frothing at the mouth because this car is the lightest car in the segment by 1,000 pounds. It's just 4,100 pounds. The M5 is 5,400. The RS6 is 5,000. This has the most power at 668 horsepower, except for the M5, which is hybrid, but if we're only counting gasoline engines, the most powerful V8 in the segment. It's a supercharged 6.2 liter, so it's got lots of response, lots of torque versus those 4-liter twin turbos, and it handles like nothing I've ever driven. This is a handling nerd's dream car, and I didn't expect that from a big, honkin' performance sedan. Oh yeah. What a naughty boy! Oh my god. This is torque on demand. Fucking hell. All right, filthy one right here, filthy one right here. Oh, those are long 11s. This car is the answer. But underneath it's the same thing. Alpha platform, 6.2 liter supercharged V8, LT4, Tremec gearbox, 6-speed, E-diff, all the good stuff except the precision package. It is a bunch of nerd stuff. It has reprofiled uprights for a little more camber, a little more rigidity. It has stiffer springs for better handling. It has retuned magneto-rheological, try saying that 3 times fast, magnetic dampers for, again, better handling. Hardened toe links in the rear. The car is faster around the track, more precise, and up here on a canyon road, it's a lot stiffer. It's quite different. It's still the Alpha platform, which is one of the greatest strut front cars, platforms ever made. And this car has every bit of that magic. The Alpha platform was, CTS-V. This CT4 is Alpha platform. Camaro's Alpha platform. It's GM's baby, and it really shows because this is one of the only strut cars I've ever driven with a front end. So the pièce de résistance, which actually I can't say that, and that's too French for this American car. The gravy on the chicken and waffles of this whole shebang is this engine. The LT4, 6.2 liter supercharged V8, 668 horsepower, blah, blah, blah. Let me show you how big the intake tube is. I cannot wrap my hands around it. It's like that big, it's colossal. That's how much air is being forced through this engine by that supercharger and being sent to the rear E-diff, which is super trick and one of the magic tricks of the Alpha platform and how it handles so well. It's because the car has a really insane active diff. Just like the face, the interior has changed. Now you have one big mega display, this Cadillac thing, which is actually a really nice display. You have your center tack, all this stuff here. You can change the stuff. Huge curved thing. I love the integration of Google Maps, to be honest, but CarPlay is kind of pathetic. I wonder if it'll actually hook up right now. Let's try it. While that's doing that, leave that alone. The other important stuff here is still Blackwing. So you have your V button, which goes to your V mode, which is basically your setup mode. And then here, this little dial is actually the performance traction management, PTM, which is one of the other tricks GM cars have, is really good traction control, really insanely good stuff. Then, my beauty, 6-speed manual gearbox. That is just fantastic. Even if the gears are insanely long, it is just lovely to have a manual gearbox in a performance sedan, because the M5 doesn't do that, the RS6 doesn't do that. You get 3 pedals and a damn shifter. It is so sick. I love it. Other than that, there's actually not a lot to say. It's pretty much the same as the CT5 interior before. You get your nice bucket seats, you get all that stuff. I'd say I should shut the hell up and keep driving now. Just kidding, not driving yet because CarPlay hooked up. Look how pathetic that is. Why does it use this tiny little bit of the screen? That's terrible. And then you go back to Google Maps and it's this wonderful thing, and then CarPlay is just hamstrung. GM, every car you give me, I will tell you, make CarPlay better. We don't want the whole inboard thing. Google Maps is lovely. I'll give you that. People want CarPlay, man. I'm going to keep mentioning the Germans a lot because they're the competitors, right? The M5, the RS6, E53, E63 AMG. All those cars, very easy to understand from the get-go. They're all twin-turbo, 4-liter V8, very fast, all-wheel drive, executive shifts with so much technology it makes your head spin. I can't even understand how to operate those cars sometimes. European emissions laws and requirements are very different to what we have in America. The Blackwing, not worried about those things at all. What the hell is Euro 6? You ask this car that question, it's gonna ask you, is that bacon on my cheeseburger? Something like that, some American shit, you know what I mean? It's not really beholden to those rules, which is why we have a 6.2 liter V8 and why we have a manual transmission and why it's so light and why it's so not hybridized is because of that. It's because they're not worried about Europe. This car is built for here, which means technically it has an unfair advantage, but it's also in the execution. I guarantee you if GM did a 4-liter twin-turbo all-wheel drive V8 thing, it would be very similar to this. It might even be lighter than the others because GM, the performance guys, the chassis guys, are so special over there. They really know what's up. The Alpha platform Camaros, even the Chevy SS on the Zeta platform, all these cars were fantastic. The C8's dual wishbone, the C7, C6, C5, all base great level of technology and handling. All those cars had similar systems to this car. PTM, Performance Traction Management, which is a little dial here that I can dial in how much slip I get on my TC, all while having no stability control. So I can slide the car around on a certain amount of slip. Okay, so there's 3 defined phases to cornering this car, and it's extremely lovely, and it gets addictive because this car carves wonderfully. It's so front axle heavy. Brake, turn in, roll a little pressure, front end grabs, mid corner is nice and rotating, but once you get on the throttle, it's incredible how the diff manages the power of this thing, how much traction it has actually. Oh, and then there's the no lift shift. It's just incredible. Same thing, it's so repeatable, but it's that loose rear end. That's what it is. It's the loose rear that makes it repeatable and fun, but also just a little risky feeling, just a little edgy, so that you're learning something every time you corner this car, which is what makes it addictive. It's predictable, but not totally. It's honestly, beneath it all, extremely predictable, but to most people it's going to feel like, oh, it's moving around, what's it going to do this time? In truth, it's going to do the same thing every time because it's tuned extremely well. If you carry a little too much brake pressure, the car pushes a little bit. If you carry a little too little brake pressure, the car will actually save you and rotate a bit because it's so good with that E-diff, where it's wide open. You can actually pull up the performance menus, see that E-diff be wide open on entry to help the car rotate, and then lock up right as you exit the corner. But it's just incredible how this car phases out cornering. It's like no other car I've felt in my life. You can distinctly feel the entry, the middle, and the exit. The precision package. That's the unique thing about this particular car and for this year. It's an $18,000 package that includes a bunch of things that, to most people, don't really make a huge difference. You don't get more power, you don't get more torque, you don't get a faster 0 to 60. All you get is a better skid pad number. You get more G's on the skid pad, you get more grip, and that comes from stiffer sway bars, stiffer springs, retuned magnetorheological dampers. I can't pronounce that word ever. I'm just gonna call them magnetic dampers. Retuned magnetic dampers. You get that from slightly different toe links in the rear that are a bit stiffer. You get that from a front knuckles, so basically the steering knuckles, the actual upright. Those are reprofiled for more camber, a better kinematics curve all around. This is all extremely nerdy stuff, granular stuff you will never see a lot of manufacturers do because it's really expensive to just homologate a whole new knuckle. That's crash related. Normal Blackwing rides really lovely all the time, even in track mode. It's really supple, nice. This car is a lot stiffer. They say it's about 20%, I think. It feels about 20% stiffer. In tour mode, it's just enough on the stiff side. In track mode, man, this thing is a church pew, to be honest with you. It's really stiff in track. It's meant for like a smooth, beautiful racetrack, which kind of doesn't exist down here in SoCal. Maybe Streets of Willow, that kind of thing. Let's chill. Let's put it in comfort mode. Let's turn the PTM back on. Let's turn the rev match on. It's actually a really nice rev match, but as a matter of pride, I'm turning it back off because I refuse to use rev match. This car, every day, for an enthusiast, is really the perfect balance because it has the right amount of specialness. This feels special to drive around. The shifter action is nice. It's mechanical, a little isolated, a little rubbery, but that's okay because it's meant to be a daily. You still feel engine vibrations through here, and that's where this car also has this lovely depth. This car has incredibly long gear. So top of second gear is 83 miles an hour. That's the top of second gear. You're at the highway speed limit for most towns at second gear. Of course, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth are all 83 miles an hour. Don't worry about anything else. Top of second gear is 83. Top of third is damn near 120, which means you aren't shifting this thing all that much. The more I drive it, the more I'm like, wow, I'm just sitting in third and fourth. But what's great is every gear is valid. You could drive this thing in fifth gear all day. You could drive it in third all day. You could drive it in second all day. I've even used it in first on some tight roads. You could just use every gear because it has so much torque all the time. It makes 668 horsepower and around the same amount of torque, but it makes it from basically idle. So I'm gonna first do no lift shift. You can hear the difference. This is none. Right? That's no lift shift. It's downshifted first because the gears are so long. With no lift shift, it makes this crazy sound, and I'll explain why in a second. It's like a chainsaw. So the reason it makes that sound is because they're not just cutting throttle plate, you know, they're not closing the throttle for no lift shift, which is normally what you do when you shift, right? You shift, one bump, do that, right? The car instead is keeping the throttle open and cutting ignition. So it's basically killing all the cylinders, which makes that chainsaw buzzing noise. And what that does is when you go back for, you know, off the clutch, it's more responsive. It's faster to reignite, I guess is the word, to bring ignition timing back into the engine. The ignition runs way faster. It runs at the RPM of the engine versus the throttle, which is just like a big old thing, especially the throttle body. And this thing is huge. It's like a 100mm throttle body. It's so fast though. The problem is when you are open, you know, and we'll show a little run. When you are wide open for a while, like you're shifting as fast as you are in other cars. It's just that the speeds are much higher. All right, so launch control. Let's listen to this thing with no lift shift. Fully depressed clutch, then throttle. Oh yeah. Jesus. Oh my God. Oh, I love no lift shift. Holy hell. Christ. That's cooking some speed, buddy. So there's that intro I did with the burnout, which is stupid because I didn't realize there was line lock in the car. That was me doing the whole thing without line lock. You know, stupid guy right here. You have line lock, which means you can do a really easy burnout and a huge one. So remember that next time you intro a video for Motor1.com. The way that it's so unapologetically performance car, this really does it for me versus the other performance cars versus the M5 RS6. This feels magnitudes more special, magnitudes better to drive. This is easily the best driving car in the entire segment. The virtue of comfort here is not strong with the precision package. With the non-precision, it's a lot more comfortable, I'll say that, if you're looking for that kind of thing. The screen, the new Cadillac screen is really nice. Classes the place up a lot. I really like the screen, actually, even though I can't CarPlay the whole Google Maps, but it's really usable, really good, really fast screen. It feels high quality, feels premium. It's just when you interact with the rest of the interior, you know, like the dash is a bit cheap. It's just, and then like that carbon seat when you're moving around, it creaks and rattles. There's like a rattle in the dash over there. It just doesn't feel like $136,000 as tested in here. It's more like, yeah, I could convincingly say it's a $100,000 interior probably, except for this dash. 136 is a bit steep, which I guess gets me to the point of this car is if you want to buy this thing, you kind of have to commit to the bit. This is not a car you accidentally buy, and that's its biggest problem is when you look at an M5 or an RS6, people just understand why you bought it. There's something called curb appeal. People chase badges. This is just a fact of this level of the market. People want to be seen in an M5. They want to be seen in a high-end product. And unfortunately, that's the only problem with this car. Is it doesn't communicate luxury. It doesn't communicate high-end all that well. And that's part of a brand building here from Cadillac. I'll give them that. But this car's been out for a few years. And if I'm being harsh with it, it's a bit behind the times, you know? We've moved on to SUVs and that kind of thing. I still love this thing. But as far as market, you know, the Escalade is what Cadillac's got. This is an incredible product that doesn't sell all that well. It sells some, but not all that well. It's not you know, gangbusters. And I think it's a matter of desirability and appeal. The CT5-V Blackwing it's appealing to enthusiasts like me. Is it appealing to the average guy who wants a fast car that looks cool and will say and be nice to the girls he's taken out or whatever? I don't think so. I think this car is a bit more of a choice than that. The crowd this car attracts is very muscle car, and that's totally okay. But it's not luxury car. It's not where Cadillac wants it to be. That's its main issue, desirability. Man, I would drive this every day over a lot of stuff. This is in my top 5. This is in my top 5. I'll park this right next to the McLaren 750S that I'll own in the future when I'm very rich, I hope. We'll see what happens. Let's hop out and chat. It's a good one, isn't it? This car is an absolute ridiculous hooligan that has so much grip, but so much playfulness and so much front end. It drives so good, it makes the M5 and the RS6 look like a joke. Okay, the RS6 actually drives really nice, I'll give you that. But the M5, remember how I talked about that car was really disappointing in the mid-corner? That's where this car shines. In the mid-corner, you just tip it in, and it just has this rear axle float and it goes right in. You turn in more and it keeps turning. It is so beautiful the way the car is balanced. I think the only shame is that nobody buys these things. The BMW and the Audi and the Mercedes, the AMGs, they just have more badge appeal than this thing. What does a car say about you? This matters in this price segment. This car is $136,000 is tested. It's really expensive, especially considering, to be honest, the interior isn't that up to par to the other guys, that kind of stuff. 136 grand is a lot of money to spend on something that only makes you feel happy and feel good, even though that's the only thing that matters. I'm speaking for the buyers in the segment. They want to look cool. They want to feel cool. So if you don't care about that sort of thing, if you just want a driver's car, you just want a rambunctious, ridiculous stick sedan, that boy's got it.